Alright guys, it's been a minute since we did something besides edge retention testing. So what I did is I went ahead and took this mini cut jack in D2 and I wanted to see if I could make it 10 days on a single sharpening just using a strop as maintenance. So that's exactly what I did. I carried this for 10 days at work. I recorded everything I cut, and we're going to go ahead and talk about how I stropped it, what I cut, how long it lasted. Keep in mind, unlike a regular edge retention test, this is using the whole blade. We're not just using 1 inch or anything like that. So we're using about 2.5 inches of cutting edge here. And I do have to look, I don't recall if I ever posted anything on steel wheel D2 edge retention, but I can tell you if you've watched any of the steel wheel D2 that Super Steel Steve's done, I can let you know right now it is extremely close to what he got for fine and working edge on 3 different knives I've tested so far. So let's go ahead and talk about what I cut, and then we'll talk about how much of it that I cut. The normal things I cut at work are cardboard, zip ties, pallet straps, plastic packaging, shrink wrap, and breaking down large, medium, and small boxes. By breaking down boxes, I mean once they're open, just cutting the 4 corners so that it's 4 separate slabs of cardboard to go in the recycler. So I did it for 10 days. And I started out for the first 4 days, I was able to get away with just stropping on 6 micron on horse leather. And go ahead and cover some of what I cut. Day 1, 60 feet of cardboard, 2 zip ties, no pallet straps, plastic packages, or shrink wrap. Broke down 2 large boxes, 1 medium, 3 small. Stropped it on 6 micron that night. Came back to work the next day. Day 2, had a fair bit of cutting. It was probably one of the heavier days at work. 95 feet of cardboard cut, 8 zip ties, no pallet straps, 2 plastic packages, no shrink wrap, 1 large box, 4 medium boxes, and no small boxes. And I'm not going to cover every single day, but you guys get the idea. A light day would have been day 6, for example, 18 feet of cardboard, 4 zip ties, no pallet straps, 1 plastic package, 3 feet of shrink wrap, 2 large boxes broken down, 1 medium box, and 1 small box. So I did not strop this on day 9. It's still cut paper fine. And day 10 ended up being pretty light. Consisted mostly of plastic. So we're going to show right now how the edge actually is after 10 days of strop maintenance. Right there it has a hang up. I don't know how well you can see it. You can see there is definitely some edge damage. You can see some light reflecting off of the what would be the apex there. So it's okay, it's not great. Still cuts cardboard fine. You can't really notice the edge damage. It isn't perfect though. I mean, aside from the damage. That's one thing I did not record what day that all happened. This little roll up here, this happened around day 5. I noticed it, and it did not go away the whole time. Not that I had expected it to. So let's cover the totals and then see how well we can strop this back, if at all. And if I am able to strop it back, then I'm going to leave it how it is, and I will continue to use it and see how long it actually goes before it breaks down enough that it's not able to be stropped back to usable condition. So for the 10-day total, with the approximately 2.5 inches of cutting edge, it did 459 feet of cardboard, 40 zip ties, 41 pallet straps, 16 plastic packages, 89 feet of shrink wrap, broke down 20 large boxes, 18 medium boxes, and 13 small boxes. How did I get that out of D2 that isn't so great? The first 4 days I was able to strop it back to perfectly usable condition using only 6 micron DMT diapaste. Starting on day 5, I switched to the 16 micron Bark River CBN on cow leather, followed by the 6 micron DMT diapaste on horse leather. 4 days of the 6 micron and 3 days of the 16, then 6 micron, and today is day 10, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can strop it back. So I'm going to get those out and we'll go ahead and strop it and see what happens. Okay, so here we go. These are the strops that Mike from I Heart Knives made for me. This is cowhide, obviously, and it is loaded with 16 micron Bark River CBN. So we're going to see and yes, this is a little hard to do through the camera. And one thing I found out is the cow leather is much more sensitive to how much pressure you actually put on the knife when you strop versus the horse leather, which is much more like basswood, and it is much less sensitive to the amount of pressure you use. And since I was talking, I didn't exactly keep count, but I believe that's about 10 passes per side. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one away. We'll get the other one out. This is horsehide loaded with 6.3, 1 micron, and the bear side that I use. And we're going to go ahead and do 10 passes per side on this and see what we have. All right. Now that I've hit it on the strop, is it gonna shave any hair? And there we go. Yep, as you can see, it exactly like I expected. It is not going to take that damage area out of there, even though the 16 micron is about equivalent to 1000 grit. And here's our piece of printer paper. Even going slow, the only spot I can feel is that one little roll up there in the blade. So there we go. Like I said, this will continue. I'll update it periodically. I'm not going to strictly just carry this at work. I will pick chunks of time, record what I cut, how I strop it, and I will follow up with it in the future. And this shows what I've talked about in the bringing it back with the different steels. And this is exactly what Banner 24/7 talks about. How he maintains an edge with a strop for long periods of time so that he can preserve the geometry of his knife. And we've talked about this one a little bit. He's curious just like I am. How long am I going to be able to go before I actually have to sharpen this? How much use am I going to put on this before the steel gets fatigued enough at the apex that it's not able to be stropped back anymore? So I did have fun doing this. I don't exactly like this knife. I do kind of wish it was a different knife. Definitely not one of my favorites. But there we have it so far, 10 days, and the use I went over. When it does finally give up and I can't strop it back anymore, we'll tally all the use that it had and we'll go from there. Let's see real quick. It definitely feels better than it did before. So that's all I have for this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. I have the Maximate Para 3, and I am going to do a 30 days of Maximate. How soon I do it will really depend on how much you guys want to see it. I had a pretty good response from it on Instagram. But if you do want to see it, let me know down below that you're really interested in seeing that. And I'll see how long I can stretch an edge of Maximate on a Para 3. And that will be work and outside of work. That won't just be at work. That will be strictly 30 days of that knife, just like the S110B. That's all I have. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.